Jai Gopi Janvalabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Raja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Raja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Gokulananda, Radha Gokulananda, Radha Gokulananda, Shri Radhe. Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman, Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman. Jaya Gauranita, Jaya Gauranita, Gauranita, Jaya Gauranita. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So today we're reading from chapter 18. We're actually starting chapter 18 today, text 1. It's called The Perfection of Renunciation. Okay, so I'll say the Sanskrit, you can all repeat after me. Arjuna Vacha Sannyasasya Mahabaho Tatvamiccami Veditum Tyagasya cha Hrishikesha Prithakkeshi Nishudana. Arjuna Uvacha Sannyasasya Mahabaho Tatvamiccami Veditum Tyagasya cha Hrishikesha Prithakkeshi Nishudana. Arjuna Uvacha Sannyasasya Mahabaho Tattvamicchami veditum Tyagasya cha hrishikesha Prithakkeshi nishudana. Someone like to chat? Arjuna Uvacha Tattvamicchami veditum Tyagasya cha hrishikesha Prithakkeshi nishudana. Arjuna Uvacha Sannyasasya mahabaho Tattvamicchami veditum Tyagasya cha hrishikesha Prithakkeshi nishudana. Arjuna Uvacha Sannyasasya mahabaho Tattvamicchami veditum Tyagasya cha hrishikesha Prithakkeshi nishudana. Arjuna Uvacha Sannyasasya mahabaho Tattvamicchami veditum Tyagasya cha hrishikesha Prithakkeshi nishudana. Okay, we'll do the word for word. Arjuna Uvacha. Arjuna said, Sannyasasya of renunciation. Mahabaho, O mighty armed one. Tattvam, the truth. Ichchami, I wish. Veditum, to understand. Tyagasya, of renunciation. Cha, also. Hrishikesha, O master of the senses. Prithak, differently. Keshi nishudana, O killer of the Keshi demon. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Arjuna said, O mighty armed one, I wish to understand the purpose of renunciation, tyag, and of the renounced order of life, sannyas, O killer of the Keshi demon, master of the senses. Purport. Actually, the Bhagavad Gita is finished in 17 chapters. The 18th chapter is a supplementary summarization of the topics discussed before. In every chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna stresses that devotional service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the ultimate goal of life. This same point is summarized in the 18th chapter as the most confidential path of knowledge. In the first 6 chapters, stress was given to devotional service. Yoginam api sarvesham, of all yogis or transcendentalists, one who always thinks of me within himself is best. In the next 6 chapters, pure devotional service and its nature and activity were discussed. In the third 6 chapters, knowledge, renunciation, the activities of material nature and transcendental nature, and devotional service were described. It was concluded that all acts should be performed in conjunction with the Supreme Lord, represented by the words Om Tat Sat, which indicate Vishnu, the Supreme Person. The third part of Bhagavad Gita has shown that devotional service and nothing else is the ultimate purpose of life. This has been established by citing past acharyas and the Brahma Sutra, the Vedanta Sutra. Certain impersonalists consider themselves to have a monopoly on the knowledge of Vedanta Sutra But actually, the Vedanta Sutra is meant for understanding devotional service, for the Lord himself is the composer of Vedanta Sutra, and he is its knower. That is described in the 15th chapter. In every scripture, every Veda, devotional service is the objective. That is explained in the Bhagavad Gita. As in the 2nd chapter, a synopsis of the whole subject matter was described. In the 18th chapter also, the summary of all instruction is given. The purpose of life is indicated to be renunciation and attainment of the transcendental position above the 3 material modes of nature. Arjuna wants to clarify the 2 distinct subject matters of Bhagavad Gita, namely renunciation, tyaga, and the renounced order of life, sannyas. Thus he is asking the meaning of these 2 words. 2 words used in this verse to address the Supreme Lord. Rishikesh and Keshinasudana are significant. Rishikesha is Krishna, the master of all senses, who can always help us attain mental serenity. Arjuna requests him to summarize everything in such a way that he can remain equipoised. Yet he has some doubts, and doubts are always compared to demons. He therefore addresses Krishna as Keshinasudana. Keshi was a most formidable demon who was killed by the Lord. Now Arjuna is expecting Krishna to kill the demon of doubt. So before I begin to speak, I'll offer some prayers to the spiritual masters. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padagamadam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Before I begin to speak, I'd like to seek the blessings of all the assembled Vaishnavas. Please bless me that I can say something which is pleasing to their lordships and beneficial to all of you for my own purification. Thank you. So I'll read the verse once again. Arjuna said, O mighty armed one, I wish to understand the purpose of renunciation, tyag, and of the renounced order of life, sannyas, O killer of the Keshi demon, master of the senses. So I thought since it's the beginning of the chapter, I'll give a little bit of a chapter summary. So in the beginning of this chapter, Krishna, he starts by giving a summary of karma yoga, how we should work, we shouldn't give up work. We should work, but we should work for giving up the results of our activities for Krishna. And then he explains how there are different types of workers in the different modes of nature, and different types of understanding, different types of determination, and workers according to the modes of nature. And then Krishna goes on to say that the best type of worker is one who's in the mode of goodness and who offers the results of his activities to Krishna. And then Krishna says, he explains how by working in this way, giving up the results of our work to Krishna, then we gradually come to the stage of love for Krishna and devotional service. And finally, he describes the end result of performing devotional service that's described in the last verse of the Bhagavad Gita. It says, Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, yatra partha dhanordhana. That wherever there is Lord Krishna, the master of all mystics, wherever there is Arjuna, then there is immorality, there is extraordinary opulence and beauty. And also by performing devotional service, we become completely happy. So this is the result. So that was a brief summary of chapter 18. So it starts from this verse. Arjuna asks, I want to understand the purpose of renunciation, Tyaga, and of the renounced order of life, sannyas. So in the next verse, Krishna answers, and he says that renunciation, Tyag, means giving up all the results of our activities, and sannyas, or the renounced order, is giving up material activities. But then Krishna, he goes on to explain that actually better than giving up activities is to work for Krishna, to give the results of our activities to Krishna. And that's karma yoga. This is explained nicely in chapter 3. So this chapter 18 is the conclusion of the Bhagavad Gita. Prabhupada says in the purport that actually Bhagavad Gita is finished in 17 chapters, that this chapter 18 is a supplementary conclusion. Yeah, summarization of the topics discussed before. So in chapter 3, Krishna explained the process of karma yoga, because in the beginning, Arjuna, he asked the question that which is better, karma yoga or action? No, I don't remember the question exactly, but Krishna, he answered, he said that not merely by abstaining from action can one obtain freedom from a reaction, nor by renunciation alone can one attain perfection. Yeah, which is better, right? The work in devotion or renunciation of work. Yeah, so then Krishna said that better is work in devotion. And then Krishna, he says that, this verse is spoken by Krishna. He says that, Nahi kaschit kshanamapi jatu tishthatya karmakrit karyate yavasha karma sarve prakriti jargunai. That no one can refrain from doing anything, not even for a moment, because everyone is forced to act helplessly according to the modes, according to the nature they acquired from the three modes. So that's why we're always active. So if we just try to restrain ourselves from action, then it won't be successful. Just like there are examples of even great rishis like Vishwamitra Muni. He was performing austerities for many, many years. And he was controlling his mind and senses, but when some heavenly damsels came to dance in front of him, then he couldn't control his senses, and he engaged in sense gratification. So this shows that if we don't give our senses proper engagement, then they will automatically go to different kinds of engagements, which might not be so good, so beneficial for us. So the best process is to work for Krishna, give our senses good engagement. Krishna says that one who tries to restrain the senses, but whose mind is always dwelling on sense objects, he's called a pretender. But one who actually, he begins karma yoga, action in Krishna consciousness, then he is much superior, a sincere person who works and gives the results of his actions to Krishna. So Krishna says then, he says that work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu must be performed. Otherwise, work causes bondage in this world. Therefore, perform your work for his satisfaction. And this way you always remain free from bondage. So this is the best way to control our senses. And this is actual renunciation. Renunciation of the results, not because it's not possible to stop work altogether. And Srila Rupa Goswami explains also in the Nectar of Devotion, he says, Anasaktasya vishayan yatarham upadyunjita nirbandha Krishna sambandhe yukta vairagyam uchite. That one who is not attached to anything for his own enjoyment, but who he accepts everything in relationship to Krishna, then he's perfectly situated in his renunciation. So we should, instead of thinking about our own enjoyment, we should think about Krishna's enjoyment, how everything is for Krishna's pleasure, and in that spirit, we can accept everything and use it for Krishna's service, because actually everything belongs to Krishna. So if we renounce, say if somebody renounces their house and goes to the forest, that's not actually renunciation, because both the house and the forest belong to Krishna. So we don't have anything to renounce. What we have to renounce is our attitude of trying to enjoy. And we have to change that to try to satisfy the senses of Krishna. So in order to do this, then we need to understand who we are, that we're actually the spirit soul, part and parcel of Krishna, and our natural position is to serve Krishna. Just as parts of the body, they naturally serve the body as a whole. The hands and legs, they serve the body as a whole. If the hands and legs were to act independently, not in accordance to serving the body, then it'll be chaos. Neither the hand will be happy, nor the body will be happy. Only when the hand gets the food and puts it in the mouth can it get nourishment and satisfaction. So this is also the same case with us as parts and parcels of Krishna. We can only be truly happy when we surrender to Krishna and work for his pleasure. And when Krishna is happy, then we as parts of Krishna, we also become happy. So since this verse here is talking about renunciation, I'd like to read a purport that I found from the Srimad Bhagavatam. Srila Prabhupada explains nicely this topic of renunciation. While discharging devotional service in full Krishna consciousness, one should not be miserly. He should not unnecessarily show that he has renounced this world. Actually, renunciation is not possible. If one renounces his palatial building and goes to a forest, there is actually no renunciation, for the palatial building is the property of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the forest is also the property of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If he changes from one property to another, that does not mean that he renounces. He was never the proprietor of either the palace or the forest. Renunciation necessitates renouncing the false understanding that one can lord it over material nature. When one renounces this false attitude and renounces the puffed up position that he is also God, that is real renunciation. Otherwise, there is no meaning of renunciation. Srila Rupa Goswami advises that if one renounces anything which could be applied in the service of the Lord and does not use it for that purpose, that is called falgurairagya, insufficient or false renunciation. Everything belongs to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, everything can be engaged in the service of the Lord. Nothing should be used for one's sense gratification. That is real renunciation. Nor should one unnecessarily increase the necessities of the body. We should be satisfied with whatever is offered and supplied by Krishna without much personal endeavor. We should spend our time executing devotional service in Krishna consciousness. That is the solution to the problem of life and death. So here, Srila Prabhupada explains that, renunciation means that we perform our duties just as much as we need to, like, say if we're working. So then we work just as much as we need to maintain our body, and we try to save as much time for engaging directly in devotional service to Krishna. in the Srimad Bhagavatam, there are 9 main processes of devotional service outlined that are especially potent ways of performing devotional service, and they're start with chanting and hearing and chanting. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam. So, yeah, we should try to save as much time as we can for chanting the holy names of the Lord, for hearing about Him. And then when we hear about Krishna and chant about Him as much as possible, then we can also remember Him. And by hearing about Krishna, also we'll develop a desire to serve Him, to worship Him. So this is the process outlined for attaining perfection. And here in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says that in every chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna stresses that devotional service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the ultimate goal of life. So from every chapter of Bhagavad Gita, we can see how Krishna is again and again stressing that devotional service is the ultimate goal of life. It's the highest perfection, and it can give us. It's the only thing that can give us. It's the only process that can give us the true happiness, eternal happiness, which we're all anxious for. Because as spirit souls, we're eternal. So naturally, we want happiness that is eternal. But unfortunately, in this material world, everything is temporary. That's why everybody's dissatisfied. So, here Krishna is telling us, for our benefit, that if you actually want to be really happy, then please engage in devotional service. Then you can be really happy. And in every chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is speaking this. For example, in chapter 2, Krishna is saying, in verse 50, he says that Karmajam Buddha Yukta hi phalam tyaptva manishina janma bandha vinirmukta padam gacchantya namayam. That intelligent persons, they engage in devotional service. And in this way, they relieve themselves from the good and bad results of their work, and they attain to the supreme abode. They go back to Godhead. And chapter 3, Krishna is speaking about karma yoga, and he says that he says, just perform your work as an offering to me, as a sacrifice unto me, and this way you'll become free from bondage. And then in chapter 4, Krishna is speaking about transcendental knowledge, and he says that there's no knowledge superior to this transcendental knowledge about me, and this transcendental knowledge can be realized by devotional service. And one who's accomplished in the practice of devotional service, he realizes this knowledge within himself, and he rejoices in this knowledge in due course of time. And in chapter 5, Krishna says, he says that one who engages in devotional service, that he becomes happy. But one who just renounces everything without engaging in devotional service, he cannot become happy. And then in chapter 6, Krishna he says, Yogi namapi sarvesham madgatir nantaratmanam shraddhavan bhajate yomam same yuktva tamo mata. That of all yogis, the one with great faith who always abides in me, thinks of me within himself and renders transcendental loving service to me. He is the most intimately united with me in yoga, and he is the highest of all. So in the first 6 chapters, Krishna is just, in every chapter he's saying how devotional service is the ultimate goal of life. In chapter 7, Krishna says, Bahunam janmanamante gyanavan mam prapadyate vasudeva sarvamiti samahatma sudurlabha. After many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be everything, and he engages in my devotional service. So again and again, In every chapter, Krishna is saying how devotional service is the ultimate goal. And this is summarized again in chapter 18, which is the conclusion. Krishna says, Sarvadharman parityaja mamekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarvapapebhyo mokshayishyami ma sucha. Just surrender unto me and give up all other forms of religion, and do not fear, because I will protect you. And the process of devotional service that Krishna speaks is very simple. He says, Man mana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mam evashisi satyam te pratijane priyosi me. Always think of me, become my devotee, worship me and offer your homage unto me, and thus you will come to me without fail. I promise you this because you're my very dear friend. So, how can we always think of Krishna? The easiest process is by always chanting his holy names, by always hearing about him. Then we can remember Krishna. Lord Chaitanya, he says, he tells us the mood which we should chant the holy names. Trinadapi sunichena tarorapi saishnuna amanena manadena kirtaniya sadahari. One should chant the holy names of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw on the street, devoid of all sense of false prestige, always ready to offer all respects to others without expecting respect in return, so that in this state of mind, one can constantly chant the holy names of the Lord. So this process of chanting Hare Krishna is so kindly given to us by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself, who appeared just 500 years ago on this planet, and he came to give us the process of chanting Hare Krishna, because in previous ages there were different processes for attaining spiritual perfection. Does anybody know the 4 ages? What are the 4 yugas? Satya, Satya the first. So for each age, there's a specific form of religion practice. In the Srimad Bhagavatam it said, Krita yadhyayato vishnum tretayam yajato make dvapare paricharyayam kalotad hari kirtanam. In the age of Satya Yuga, the process was meditation. People had long lives, so they had enough time to meditate. Like Vishwamitra Muni or Valmiki Muni, he meditated for like 60,000 years, and then he realized the whole of Ramayana in his heart. He attained perfection by meditation. And then but in this age we don't have enough time. We don't live so long, so we don't have enough time to perfect ourselves through meditation. And also the mind is difficult to control for such a long period of time. So that's why we have an easier process, which is just chanting the holy names. And this verse describes that all the processes, all the benefit that was attained in previous ages, in Satya Yuga through meditation, in Treta Yuga through performing sacrifices. The sacrifices in those days were performed with grains and ghee, putting grains and ghee into the fire. So nowadays we don't have so many tons of ghee to put in the fire. So this is also too difficult for this age. So the results obtained by performing meditation in Satya Yuga, sacrifice in Treta Yuga, or in Dwapara Yuga it was deity worship, elaborate deity worship. All the same result can be attained in Kali Yuga just by chanting the holy names. So Lord Chaitanya was so kind that he gave us such an easy process so that we can easily obtain perfection. Even in this age of Kali, which is compared to an ocean of faults. In the Bhagavatam it says, Kaler dosha nidhe rajan, asti heko mahan gunan, kirtanariva krishnasya mukta sangha param vrajit. That although this age of Kali is an ocean of faults, there is one great quality, mahaguna, and that simply by chanting the holy names of the Lord in this age, one can attain all spiritual perfection. So I encourage everyone to take to the chanting of Hare Krishna as much as you can. There is no even a hard and fast rules for chanting this mantra. You can chant while you're working, while you're walking, whenever you get time. But especially it's recommended that you set aside a little bit of time every day where you just focus on your chanting and try to chant with all your attention. Just try to focus your mind on hearing the sound of the holy name, like a meditation on the sound, mantra meditation. This is very effective for controlling our mind and purifying our mind. And you'll actually be able to feel the effects of this chanting even in the other areas of your life. You'll be able to focus more on your activities. But most importantly, you'll be able to advance in your spiritual realization. You start to feel a closer connection to Krishna. So, are there any questions so far at this point? Yeah.
So, as I'm reading Prabhupada's books, so Prabhupada always speaks about achieving perfection in human life. So, what do we understand under the perfection, as a perfection of human life?
The perfection of human life is to, Prabhupada says that as spirit souls, we're all part and parcel of Krishna. So then the perfection is to be reinstated in our natural position. And that is the only way by which we can be truly happy. So the perfection would be to go back to our original place, because this material world is compared to a prison house. It's not our actual home. And this body is also not our identity. It's just a covering, a temporary covering. So we need to go back to reality, to our real existence in the spiritual world, to our natural occupation of service to Krishna, and that'll make us truly happy. That's our perfection, our goal. Anybody else would like to add something? Yeah.
You have mentioned about the renunciation, that in reality, if we see, everything belongs to Krishna, and person doesn't renounce anything. So, what's the meaning of then renunciation? And if a person is detached from something, so what's the use of like going to the forest?
I'm not sure if I understood the second part of your question. If somebody is detached from something.
If somebody is detached from the sense enjoyment, so what's the use of renunciation? Like,
Yeah, the purpose of detaching from sense gratification is so that we can practice spiritual life, because in the Nectar of Instruction it talks about controlling our senses, controlling the 6 urges. And Srila Prabhupada writes that the first duty in spiritual life is to control our senses, because if we can't control our senses, then we can't use them in the service of the Lord, because we're controlled by them. But if we want to use our senses, then we need to be able to control them, so we can use them in the service of the Lord. Okay, I'm sorry, I lost my... I forgot your question. What was your question?
so similar, I want to ask, if a person doesn't have attachment with something, he can still be in that particular thing and still he can do the devotion, because he is not doing the sense enjoyment, because he is not attached to these things, whatever it will be, the sense enjoyment.
I still didn't get it. Oh, it's a comment. Okay.
It's like renunciation and sense enjoyment. So person is detached from the sense enjoyment. So what's the use of renunciation for that particular person?
Okay, if a person is already detached from sense enjoyment, why do they need to renounce? Like, for example, take sannyas or who's going forth.
Yeah, what I understand, what Srila Prabhupada is trying to say by renunciation is that we have to renounce the spirit of enjoying. So then, yeah, there is no use. If you're already detached from sense enjoyment, there is no use in going to the forest. Better you come to live with the devotees. And the association of devotees, you can hear about Krishna. And you can become attached to Krishna and advance in devotional service. Because the purpose is not renunciation. Renunciation is just something that will help us to become more focused on devotional service. Our goal is to attach ourselves to Krishna. Detachment is one part, but that's not sufficient in itself. We have to also attach ourselves to the lotus feet of Krishna. Then we can attain perfection. Yeah, you want to add something?
No, I would like to explain to him in another way. Is that okay?
Yeah.
So what she said before in the verse, Prabhupada mentioned about anasaktasya visayan yatharam upayunjito nirbandha krishna sambandha yukta vairagya mukhyate. And the opposite of that, in the nectar of instruction, there is a mention about prapanchakataya buddhaye hari sambandha vastuna mumukshibi parityago phalgu vairagya katyate. So that is renunciation which is false. But what she explained is the true renunciation of attaching to Krishna and his services, and then detachment is not important. If you get attached to something, detachment will automatically happen. That is what Rupa Goswami says in this verse, these two verses. You want to check these two verses. She explained that earlier in the talk.
Thank you.
Sorry, can I ask, is renunciation, is it a physical thing or is it a state of mind almost? That it's sort of a feeling inside, or is it an actual physical thing that like he's saying, you're going to the forest and once you've renounced, that you can you be anywhere and be in a renounced position?
Yeah, it's more a state of mind. Yeah, that's what Srila Prabhupada is explaining here. But of course, there are certain things that we do have to give up. Prabhupada explains, he gave us 4 regulative principles. So basic sinful activities we should give up. But other things there are certain things that we just need to live with, like a house. Most people live in a house, and you need to eat some food and stuff like that. You need to work to maintain yourself. So these things we don't have to give up. We can just do in the spirit of detachment that I'm working to give the results to Krishna. And also, if we understand that our body is given to us by Krishna, and we're going to use our body in Krishna's service, so then we also need to maintain our body so that we can keep it in a good condition for serving Krishna.
Sorry to consider, Prabhupada was a renounced soul, but he was still partaking in sort of traveling all over the world and using sort of material things like cars and books and all these things. But everything he was doing, it was for devotional service. There was nothing sort of material within him doing all these things.
Yeah. That's that he was demonstrating the application of Rupa Goswami's verse that we accept everything that's favorable for execution of devotional service. Yeah. Someone like to add something else?
Also, you were mentioning in the class that one should strive to save time as much as possible to be able to utilize this time for chanting the holy name. So, does it work that I buy so expensive car, but I'm so detached because I'm using it on my way to come to the temple, but I have to work 12 hours a day to feed this car. But I'm coming to temple, so I'm detached. So that's not how it works.
Yeah, Prabhupada says many times that we should live simply, simple living and high thinking. We should just work as little as we need to, just to be able to get the basic necessities, and then save more time for spiritual life.
I think also with that, if I can say, but I think it's also to do with your intention. If you had the intention of buying this really nice car and, for your ego to say, I'm then your intention behind it was, whereas if you didn't have that intention, and your intention was the fact that you had this luxury and you bought the car, but your sole purpose is not the attachment of the car, because you know you could do the same service with the bike or with your feet, but you're using this vehicle in Krishna consciousness and to serve Mahaprabhu. But I think, as I understand it, it's more to do with your intention and what mode you do this in than the actual action of buying the car and using it and stuff. Because we can always justify it to ourselves in any way we want, but deep down Krishna knows our desires and what our desire was for this car and for this action.
Okay. Does anybody have anything else to say? So we're almost at 7 o'clock. I think we can stop here. Thank you all for sitting so patiently. Please do stay for the arati as well. Hare Krishna.
He's not allowed. No, like the new rule. Yeah. Everybody wearing dhoti, only they are allowed. Yeah, Mataji can sing. Sripati can sing. Just joking.
Jaya Radha Gokulananda Radha Gokulananda Radha Gokulananda Shri Radhe